Yo, people, lateness is greatness. Welcome back into the building. You already know what time it is. It's time for my first ever solo stream. That's like, listen, I said it to myself, let me take a break over the weekend because we're not going to be, we're not going to get another break. Chelsea, after this international break is gone, we're going to be thick and fast into the fixtures. The race head down focused until the end of the season, right? Because we've got some big games. But I said to myself, before I do move on, I got to go through this bald thing. I got to do a solo stream. I'm bald now, so you already know what happened. It's all mad. But just in case some of you thought it was fake and you thought I didn't really do it, of course I did it. Of course I actually went bald. You think I would lie to you? You think I would tell you lies? Why would I do that? Me and you got a relationship. We got something special, right? You're subscribed. You're tuning in. You're supporting me. I would never lie to you. Of course, I'm bald. So as you can see, it's getting real shiny. By the way, my hair grows quite fast. So this little situation is not going to last. So you better enjoy it while you can, yeah? I didn't even oil up my head before I came on here. I didn't even oil it up, shine it up. Do you know what I mean? I didn't do that. I just kept it raw and uncut. So I hope, listen, I hope you man have enjoyed the little stunt. It's been fun. I was even privately saying I may go bald anyway, because I felt like my hair was getting real patchy on the sides. When I was combing it, was looking all uneven. Man was looking clapped. You told me I was clapped when we did the stream with Jenny and Olivia. You said to me, why are your hair looking all mad? Why are you looking all clapped, bro? You've come to this stream, with these brilliant women, and look at you, bro. You're a mess. You're disgracing us. I said, cool. I said, all right, cool. Not that I did all of this on purpose, but it turned out well. You saw the video on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow my Instagram if you haven't. Link is in the description. I put the video on there. We're going to be uploading there now. The video, you guys enjoyed the video, and I thought to myself, everyone's always complaining about football Twitter. They're always complaining about the lack of content, and it's getting boring now. There's no discussions. So I thought to myself, I need to give back to the people. I need to give you a good video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Before we get into the topics, listen, let me go and see what's going on in the chat. Stephen in the chat, big up yourself, brother. Always here. HZ Season, Sam Williams, The Real Lukaku, Owen, Aman, all you guys, big up yourselves, man, and JJ and everybody. So listen, there's so much to talk about. The Fabregas shirt is up there. I thought, let me pay him some homage. It's international break. He's an absolute baller. I miss him dearly. But as you can see by the title, I'm going to be talking about stuff that we don't really ever get into. And it's something that I've wanted to address on this channel for a while. So I thought, let me give myself a solo stream to really get into the deep depths of it, because it's not a joke thing. It's a lot of messy. It's a messy subject, but it's something that needs to be addressed. Why certain players and figures in the Chelsea squad are so polarizing in the fan base? Why is there so much toxicity around certain names that you see on the internet, whether that be Instagram, social media, on Twitter, and explaining that and going through the depths of it and getting everybody's thoughts and opinions on it as well. And then, listen, Lukaku, you see that as well. We're going to be doing a real Lukaku special tomorrow at 11:15 a.m. with Gab Marcotti. That's right, Gab Marcotti of ESPN is going to be joining us tomorrow. We're going to do a Lukaku special. He obviously knows the Serie A better than anybody, so that's a brilliant one to talk about. But listen, before I get into all of that, let's quickly talk about Sergio Aguero and pay some homage, because it was going to be the Battle of the North at 7 p.m. tonight, but we're going to move that show to next week. A couple boys couldn't make it, and it's the international break. There's not really much to talk about. And I said to myself, I want to do a solo stream as well. We haven't done one before. But Sergio Aguero has just announced that he's leaving Man City. Big up to him. Big player. Do you guys remember when we could have signed Sergio Aguero from Atletico Madrid? We was linked with him, 32 million. I don't know what happened, but he ended up going to Man City, and he's been a Premier League legend. It's simple. He's been a legend. He's been absolutely unbelievable. The near post finishes, the technique, the link up play, everything's been mad. So yeah, listen, I can only pay homage to Sergio Aguero. Would I take him at Chelsea, which is what this question is alluding to? Personally, no. Of course, if he was offered to us and we got him to replace Giroud, I'm not complaining. But for me, I want us to be looking at younger targets. Your Erling Haalands, You know, Romelu Lukaku, who've been linked to as well, who's only, I think, 28 years old. Harry Kane may be in the market. Extremely unrealistic. Probably no chance. But, you catch my drift. Players that are in their prime or generational talents that are freaks, you know, that would be where I'd be going with this in terms of a first choice next season. I personally don't want to lose Giroud. I think he's a brilliant secondary striker. I think his hold-up play, he comes in clutch. Big games, you know, semi-final against Southampton, European games as well that we've seen in the Champions League against Sevilla. So do I want to lose Giroud? Absolutely not. Ultimate professional, does the backup role really well and is comfortable with it. Of course, he wants to be respected and to play, but he knows he's a backup player. He knows he's going to be, you know, coming on for cameos, and I think he's professional and he can handle that. And we've seen how he's taken Tammy under his wing at times as well. So I don't really want to make too many changes up front. I just want one world-class striker and I'm good. I think Giroud is a good option. Kai Havertz is a good option. Should be coming into his own next season. Timo Werner as well. Good player. What we got? Man said that looks like an egg. Listen, man looks like an egg, protein and that. It's only temporary. You know what I mean? Let's not pretend like as if man will not be rising again. Do you know what I mean? I've been using this special oil on my head that helps hair growth and strengthens your hair. So man's going to be looking like never before when I return. Peng ting, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be looking like a peng lighty. It's going to be beautiful. When this hair grows back, you're never going to see nothing like it. You know what I mean? I'm going to be able to move mad. But until then, I'm humble, I'm bald, and it's peak. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm looking like a 36-year-old uncle, you know, from Jamaica. Man's got, you know, it's long. It's long. If you saw the video, it's long for me right now. So I'm very, very calm and quiet and collective in this moment. Man said, yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. The real Lukaku says it correct. My hair was uneven anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's not like as if I was shaving off beauty. It's not like I was shaving off some fantastic hairline and shaved and, you know, fade, and no, it was peak. I was already clapped. So let's just keep it moving. Do you know what I mean? Now we've started again. It's how the saying goes. You know what I mean? If it's not going right, just rip it up and start again. Do you know what I mean? That's what we're doing here. But let's move on because you man are gonna be rinsing this, and that's why I'm getting this out the way now. Do I need you to do this when Gab's here tomorrow? Probably not. If you man could all pattern yourselves for that interview and don't cuss me in the comments and keep the questions coming in, that would be good. So that's why I'm getting out the abuse now. Get you used to the egghead thing, and then tomorrow we can get professional, if you don't mind. But to move on quickly, listen, let's go through the players that are polarizing. We'll get back onto the striker situation. Get your questions in as well. I'm reading these comments, and what did my girl say? Bro, she's seeing me tomorrow. My birthday's in a couple of days as well, if you didn't know. I'll get my feedback then. Like, it's a different thing seeing photos and seeing it in real life. We'll see. I may be single. Who knows what's going to happen? You may see tears. But let's get into the players that are polarizing, right? The players that are polarizing, I'm leaving this comment up just to gas myself. Cool. The players that are polarizing. Let's start with the obvious, right? Mason Mount. As we can see on social media, we've seen it so much. And I don't speak on Mason Mount hate very often anymore on my platforms, because I feel like the more attention you give it is the more it will continue to thrive. It's like putting, you know, fire on coal. It's just, you know what I mean? It just keeps going. That's what you want. Or coal on, I don't even know what I'm talking about. But listen, it's like putting a lighter on a fire. You're just enhancing it. And for me, I don't like to feed into it, because I feel like that's what most of the people are doing. They're looking for attention. They want the engagement. They want the madness. But the reason why he is polarizing, well, there's a couple reasons. The first reason is very similar to our second contender, which will be Jorginho, and that is the manager, Frank Lampard. Everybody really did fail to isolate Mason Mount from Frank Lampard. And because of Frank Lampard and people putting them together in this, like, you know, basket, this present wrapped up together as a duo instead of isolating their times objectively and looking at them as separate individuals, what's happened is that a lot of people have failed to, you know, they've failed to you know, objectively criticize or praise Mason Mount without bringing Frank Lampard into the conversation. And that's the problem here, because I think we can all admit we hoped Lampard would be here a lot longer. We hoped he would be more successful when he arrived. We didn't want him to, you know, leave this way. I don't think anybody said when he was first hired that we wanted it to go this way. But because of the fact that Frank Lampard was clearly a big Mason Mount fan from his Derby days, and he used him heavily and in any position as well, he became quite a polarizing individual, because Mason Mount, regardless of his performance, was looked like as a Frank Lampard favourite, so to speak. And then when you bring that into it, obviously the players that are out the team, and that, maybe if you're starting a Mason Mount on the wide left or the wide right over a natural winger like a Pulisic or a Hudson-Odoi, that's when it starts to become an issue, because people are like, whoa, Mason, you've been playing good in your first season, but you haven't been Eden Hazard. Why are you in every single lineup? Why are you playing all the time? And it gets shoved in your face a little bit. And that's where, people start to become a little bit, distance themselves from Mason Mount, the player, which is unfair, because he doesn't pick himself. He doesn't choose to play himself at left wing, doesn't choose to play himself at right wing in that first season. He's just playing wherever he can, whatever option or instruction he's given, he'll take it, because of course he wants to do his best. But unfortunately, because of that, and I think he was really played a lot. And a lot of people will say it was down to injuries, and he was played, because we had a lack of options out wide, and that's true. But I think the fact that he wasn't really rotated much, and he was always used as this player that is instantly needing to be in the team, that just pushed it even more, and that really started to piss a lot of people off. Obviously, England, Southgate, the Grealish, the next part is obviously comparisons, right? So England, Southgate, we saw the way that he really took a shine to him immediately as well. A player that he liked to use in many different situations and positions as well, whether it's pressing, the counter press, the fact that he's good in the pockets and he can receive the ball on the turn and give it quite quickly. He doesn't take too many touches as well. He understands the need to move the ball quickly and moving it. The thing that I like about Mason Mount, which I think now he needs to get the credit for, is that he's always playing at a high intensity, which is important. Do you know what I mean? It's good to have Kai Havertz, players that play at their own pace and slow the game down at times and can do those flicks over people's head and move with that kind of source. But it's also good to have players that play with an intensity, that counter press. We saw how good Chelsea's counter press has been since Tuchel arrived. The counter press has been unbelievable. Chelsea, whenever they lose the ball back, bang, straight in your face again. They're winning the ball back high up the pitch and they're going again. Do you know what I mean? And there's no time for opposition to get into a groove. There's no time for them to get their foot on the ball, pass it around, pick their options, because Chelsea, whether it's Kante and Kova or Mason Mount in there as well, the counter press is brilliant. And I think that was, I'd say the counter press was really shown against, I'd say, Atletico Madrid. The second game, that was a really good counter press. If you guys remember the Atletico Madrid home game where we beat them 2-0, it was quite a comfortable, good performance. Chelsea's counter press was ridiculous, man. Like, we were just suffocating, like literally just strangling the opposition. I mean, physically. Someone should have called the police that day. It was actually brutal. Do you know what I mean? Proper strangling man them on the ball. Couldn't take a touch, no time, just bang. And that's what Mason Mount can give you as well, as much as Kante and Kova. That's why the modern day managers seem to like him. So obviously the comparisons, right? We'll get into that. The comparisons with Foden, the comparisons with Grealish, the comparisons with Maddison. Did that help Mason Mount? Of course it didn't. It never does help to compare a player with, first of all, players that don't really play in the same position. A lot of the time we all maybe said to ourselves, he's probably best in the number 8 position. Oh, someone's left a comment that they want me to read. Hold on a second. Let's see that. Hold on. You're a donkey. You really attracted my attention to go back to that. Yeah, you absolute bastard. But anyway, I'll let you man laugh at that while I continue with my train of thought. When it comes to Mason Mount, the comparisons that were being made to the likes of Foden, the likes of Maddison, the likes of Grealish, all of these players may be more attacking and a lot, they play higher up the pitch. I would say Mason Mount is more of that connect from the DM to the attacking midfielders. Yes, under Tuchel, he's playing in that double fake 10 position with Timo Werner or whoever joins him. Hakim Ziyech has played there as well. However, I still feel like when he plays in that position, I've pointed this out many times, he is the guy that can funnel back into that double pivot in midfield and still be the 8 box-to-box guy. Like, yes, he's playing a fake 10, but Mason Mount, if we give the ball away in the midfield, he'll get back into that 2-man double pivot and he'll help and he'll win the ball back. Great instance of this is, I think, Jorginho potentially at home to, was it Newcastle? There was a home game under Tuchel. Remind me, guys. I don't know if it was Newcastle, but it was at home. Jorginho gave the ball away in midfield, and Mason Mount sprinted straight back, won the ball back, and then went again. You don't really always get that from your natural attacking midfielders. You know, potentially your Grealishes or whoever plays in that role. You're not as guaranteed to get that same level of energy back and forth in that role. So he kind of acts as a shuttle bus in that fake 10. Yes, he's playing hard at the pitch. You expect your goals and assists. And I think his dad, Tony Mount, has even come out and said that on the Byline with Alex in a recent pod. And the links are always in the description for that, because you know I'm part of that, part of the Byline. But you know, he said he wants his goals up. He wants his goals up to be, you know, to be the tally and the output and the composure in the box. He wants that to improve this season. He wants him to get more goals. He said he was unlucky with the assists. He's created a lot of chances, but they haven't really been finished. The game at home to Leeds is a good example of that left foot pass, very similar to what Phillips did. Bamford finished. We couldn't get our finish from Mount. So I think he's created a lot of chances. However, he needs to be more composed in the box. We've seen some good finishes from him. We've seen the goal against Sheffield United and a few other instances. He's been unlucky at times, especially last season, hit the post, couple good free kicks. However, do need to get that end product with the goals, because he's capable, strikes the ball well. Saw it for England against Albania the other day. That's what you want to see from Mason Mount even more. And that's, again, where a lot of the heat comes, is that people feel like end product, he's not been good enough. I think I give him a bit of the benefit of the doubt, because I don't think any of our attackers from an end product standpoint have been good enough. So I think if you're going to criticize Mason Mount, and again, this is part of the polarizing thing that I'm talking about, of him being quite a polarizing individual, people feel like you can't criticize Mason Mount on social media without getting a load of backlash your way. I think it's always good to constructively criticize any player, whether they're young, old, because you have to uphold some sort of standard for everyone, because they are in the Chelsea first team, and the Chelsea first team wants to win games. Of course, you don't want to take it too far, don't cross the line, but you have to criticize when needed. And I remember the Tottenham game, for instance, where he played against Tottenham in the Cup. We lost on penalties. You know, he missed the penalty, I think under Lampard, right? And it wasn't the greatest performance. He had a moment where he was running in behind. I think it was maybe a 2v1 situation or a 3v2, and he picked the wrong pass and we didn't quite get the goal. And obviously, you know, missed the penalty, but that was unlucky. So you know, people want to feel like they can criticize him just as much as they criticize other players. But you do tend to get that extra heat. And again, that's where the polarizing thing comes from. Also, sometimes is he held to standards that are a bit too high? We have to remember he's developing. He's a player that is developing. So yes, he hasn't got the output right now, but not many 22-year-old midfielders do have that, you know, Frank Lampard potential output that you're looking for. We know he needs to improve his finishing. We know his final ball can be better. You know, I think another thing that's very important to highlight is the set pieces. Thank God we have him on set pieces now. You know, we used to have Willian knocking it on the first man time and time again. Now we've got someone who can really whip the ball in from set pieces and corners properly. So there's parts of his game that need to improve. There's parts of his game that are really good that we have to highlight as well. So it's one of those things where he is quite a polarizing figure. A, because of Frank Lampard and the strong relationship they built there, which is very similar to the next person I'm going to talk about, which is Jorginho and Sarri. And then B, the comparisons, right? Comparisons with Foden, comparisons with Maddison, comparisons with Grealish, and things like that. So before I move on to the next guy, the Blue Boys Network, man looking like Samuel L. Jackson, see you Monday. Yeah, brother, you know what it is. Do you know what I mean? Dammy's also said something mad in this chat, but I'm not even gonna go up. Do you know what I mean? I don't even think I even want to scroll to that. I feel like Dammy's chosen violence, and he said that was his second account. So now, who do we believe? You know, that's the thing. This brother said your hairline is a bigger gap than. Listen, Dammy, behave yourself. Yeah, you're still rocking what is it? Some sort of mohawk. What are you rocking, bro? You're rocking some massive bush on the top, fam, with nothing on the sides, fam. It don't make no damn sense. Do you know what I mean? What is this, 2009? Behave yourself, Dammy, fam. Behave yourself. I'll see you soon, fam. I'll see you soon. Let's see what's going on here. Lewis is in the chat, yo. You know, all the man them always turn out when you're at your weakest. Look at this now, huh? It's because I'm bored. This is the first one. I hope I'm not gonna get this type of stick on Marcotti, you know. You know, we got big Marcotti in the cup next tomorrow at 11:15. Don't be slagging me off in front of him. You have to make me look good. Even that's not easy to do right now. Man's trying to drag me without saying it to my face. Bro, I'll ring you, bro. Shut up, you donkey, fam. I'll ring you. What are you talking about? Clown, fam. Anyway, we'll move on. So Dammy's just trying to act up because he wants to get added in so he can cuss me live, but I'm not going to happen. Yes, all you can eat Chelsea is happening on Thursday, 100%. But yeah, let's move on to the next person on the list. Jorginho and Sarri. Listen, Jorginho is another very polarizing. Wait, what? Bro, what he said didn't make no damn sense. What are you man talking about? I'm moving on. You man are distracting me. Anyway, listen, the next person we got to talk about is Jorginho. He is another polarizing figure in the Chelsea community. He has been since he joined. Since Jorginho arrived, he has been extremely polarizing. Listen, there's so many. It's very similar to Mason Mount and listen, Frank Lampard. It's again Jorginho and Sarri. Ever since that relationship was built up, he played in basically every game. He was the epicenter to the system working. He became a very polarizing figure at Chelsea, very clearly. You know, we saw it with the fans in the ground in Sarri's first season. The loads of booing in the stadiums. You know, when he came on, I think as a substitute. So that was, you know, that doesn't happen very often. I think the last time that might have happened was Bakayoko, potentially at Watford when he had that real stinker. So yeah, you know, Jorginho very polarizing, and again, it's that manager to player relationship. When the manager clearly has a player that he really favors and is really integral to his system, unless he's an Eden Hazard or a world-class world beater, which none of these two players are that I've mentioned, then there's always going to be some sort of friction in the fan base as to why they play so much. Why can't they be dropped? They're not the best thing since sliced bread. Why are they on the pitch? And that's the same thing that happened with Mount, happens with Jorginho. Jorginho is the complete opposite player to Mount. Of course, he's not going to move at that speed and that tempo that you're looking for in terms of, you know, his electricity. Brother's not electric. He's not electric. Man's doing a Michael Dapper. I can't even speak. Man's not electric like that. Do you know what I mean? But he's been great under Tuchel recently. Again, another player that's been very good this season, quite underrated. I think I saw something like 24 starts and only 1 defeat this season. He's been really good this season. Kind of gone under the radar. You know, some of his stats went up on twitter.com, the Birdie platform today. Been looking good. And I think to myself sometimes, you know, I think both these players, and you know, there's a lot of similarities to compare and to contrast with Mount and Jorginho, is that yes, these players are polarizing, but they've both shown that they are more than the manager that put them in their position, right? And I think that's the key takeaway here. You know, Mount, Lampard's gone. Mount's still doing his thing. Jorginho, Sarri's gone. Jorginho is still doing his thing. They've both been able to get over these adversities and these struggles and still do their thing. And that is what is very impressive about these guys. Jorginho, Mount, they've both wore the armband. They've both been, you know, showing leadership qualities in the team. They've both had their critics, whether it be on the ball, off the ball, physicality, output, end product, whatever you name it, they both got it. Jorginho, people will say he needs to get more assists. He needs to create more chances, you know. He's not good enough defensively with his physicality and whatnot. Both these players have had their criticisms, and they've both had the mentality to strive above it. And to be honest, they're the two main ones that I really wanted to give my most time to in terms of this you know, polarizing figures at Chelsea. I think those two are very, very crucial. Has there been comparisons with Jorginho? Not really so much. He's a very, you know, systematic, specific player. He's not really someone that you can compare many others to. He's a regista. He plays in a certain way. But I think it's very interesting to see that Tuchel's come in and he clearly rates him. Yes, he rates Kante, he rates Kovac as well, it seems, but he rates Jorginho. He's definitely been using him. You know, he's been a big part of the team as well. He's got a lot of starts under him. Same with Mason Mount. You know, these are the type of players that, you know, before Tuchel came in, a lot of people made their assumptions and they said, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be playing anymore. You know, maybe Mason Mount's minutes are going to come down. Maybe Jorginho is out of the team now. Mason, you know, the minutes are going to come down. We know how much he loves Kante and whatnot. Both these players have stepped up and they're still being used heavily in this team. And they're both polarizing figures for different reasons, but they all have, you know, they both have very similar points, which is the managers that they were under. So again, Jorginho is one of those players that for me, you know, yes, he has his weaknesses. He's not perfect, but I think we have to pay homage sometimes to the job that he does get done. Is he world class? I wouldn't say so. Is Mason Mount world class? I wouldn't say so. If I'm being not biased, if I'm putting my Chelsea, you know, chest on, then of course I'm going to tell you everybody's world class. But if we're being real, no one's at that world class level. Mason Mount maybe will have that potential because he's younger. Jorginho, you know, is a lot older. But again, you saw that hug in the crowd, people. You saw that Thiago Silva, Mason Mount, Jorginho. For me, that was symbolic. You had two polarizing figures next to one of the GOATs of defending that everybody loves. You won't find a Chelsea fan that doesn't love Thiago Silva. It's not possible. If they don't love him, then listen, potentially maybe their hair should get the chop as well. They can do the bald thing as well, because that would be fully deserved. Someone just asked me, would you keep Jorginho? I mean, personally, I still want something in that midfield. I think that midfield could be still improved. I think there's something lacking there. I look at it, and I've tweeted this a few times, that I feel like Jorginho and Kante are both getting up there in age. So it would be silly not to have a replacement for their role. Now, what I would like is a blend between the both of them. I would like someone who can dictate in midfield and pass and pull the strings and be that controller. Also, I want someone that can do what Kante does and is a bit more mobile, that can get into those duels and get into those tasty tackles and interceptions. And if they're a physical specimen, even better. I'd like someone taller than both of them, if I'm being ideal here. So there's a lot of things that I'm looking for in that midfield that we don't quite have. There's no height. I would like someone, I'm not gonna lie, what I'm basically looking for here is like a modern day Michael Essien. Not really gonna find it, are we? I mean, potentially there is someone out there, not that I know of, but you never know. Someone just said, Matisse, dictate your hairline. Get it all out the way, ladies and gents. Yeah, get all of the cusses. I want you to keep going, because it's funny to read, and also I need you to get it out your system, because if you bring this tomorrow, it's gonna be annoying. So just bring it out now. You know what I mean? Get it all out now, out your system. That's why we're doing this. You know what I mean? I could have not done this, and I could have just said, we'll leave it, we'll go into the gab thing tomorrow, but that would have just been stupid. So that's two polarizing figures for you there. Jorginho, Mason Mount, both of them, mainly because of the managers. Bit of comparison in there, and then I think Jorginho, probably because you look at them, the holding midfielders of old, your Mikels, your Makaleles, you know, Kante, not really a DM, but, you know, a defensive midfielder in a pivot at his best. He's got a lot of comparisons there, I guess, of Chelsea title-winning teams. Because we haven't won a title under him, bang, there you go. And you do show some weaknesses in transition and whatnot. So that's where a lot of that heat comes from. No, you won't wait until tomorrow, boss. What you will do is get out all your slagging now. Get it out now, please. Let me go through some of the chat. So Mandem is saying, nice haircut. Matt, do you regret shaving your hair? Do I regret it? No, because listen, what you will learn about me as this channel goes on, and that obviously when we're outside lockdown and there's not so many restrictions, and I can start to create some more of the content that I want to create in terms of videos, because right now it's just been streams. I'm a risk taker. I've always been a risk taker. I've never really cared about, you know, people's perception of me on socials in terms of being embarrassed or, you know, is he cringe? You can see from my Twitter videos, I've tried many different things. Some things have worked, some things haven't, but it's all really been, for most of it has been entertainment purposes. I used to put out more opinionated videos, but obviously we came to YouTube and we stopped that now. But I've always tried new things. You know, I've always tried not saying anything in a video with a backing track, or tried to do, you know, music with the Thiago Silva thing and the dancing. I've always tried everything. I don't really worry about, you know, getting heat for being cringe or any of these things. So what you're just going to see on the channel is a lot of new things that you're like, whoa, didn't think he would do that, but he's doing it. Whether it be with different people outside or whatever, trying new things, new edits, whatever. So I don't regret it, because it's just hair. It's just hair, bro. It's going to grow back. I shaved it on the Big Six, 2,000 people live watching. Don't care. It's fun. And like I said, people are in lockdown. So let them, you know, let people enjoy the entertainment and the content. That's what that for me, that's what the problem has been with football Twitter over lockdown. That's why potentially you're seeing even more. I mean, there was always, you know, racism and all these issues on there, but out of boredom now, people are just starting to get into more arguments, and there's more bullshit going on. For me, there's just been a lack of entertainment on Twitter. So for me to put that video out there, yeah, it's a bit long for me, but this will grow back in, what, a month? And then everybody's had their laughs, they've enjoyed, they've got their memes. It's all good. I'm here to help the people. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not that deep for me. It's only hair. Ken Berry says, yo, the Narcos themed announcement was lit. Yeah, man, listen, if you're going to go bald, then you may as well milk it. Do you know what I mean? Make sure that everything is working properly. Do you know what I mean? Don't slack off now. You go on the Big Six, you do your thing there, let all the boys have their laugh. We're going to go on there in half an hour, Big Six tonight at 10 p.m. on Turkish's channel. You go and make your video as well. It wasn't actually meant to be shot like that, which is quite funny. But because I cut my hair a couple days after I shot the first bit, which was with my hair, I thought to myself, we may as well shoot that again. And if I come out the lake with no hair, it will look like a pollution thing. You know, in the Simpsons movie where there's pollution in the lake and everything that drops into the lake just disintegrates. I was going for that vibe and I was like, that would be funny. So listen, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. You know what I mean? It was good. It's funny. And like I said, my hair is going to grow back. I've been bald before when I was like 13 anyway, so who gives a shit? But back onto the topic. So I think right now, do I want to go for a final polarizing figure? I mean, I'm going to give about 10 minutes to my thoughts on the Lukaku. I don't want to give you too much Lukaku content because we're going to talk about it tomorrow in a special with Gab Marcotti. We're going to talk about tactics, the system at Inter Milan, how he's been doing, obviously his goal rate, but any weaknesses, has he improved on them, and how he would fit into Chelsea's system and all these kind of things. He's a big Serie A expert. So I don't want to talk too much about Lukaku. Probably give it 10 minutes. I'll give you my opinion, but I'll leave most of that till tomorrow morning. Back onto the players that are polarizing, right? A new one that I wasn't really expecting, but I feel like he's starting to become more and more polarizing in the fan base as we go on. It's Tammy Abraham. And you guys have seen me defend Tammy Abraham on this channel before. And I think a lot of you guys that leave comments, you get it conflicted and confused that I'm saying that he's world class, or I'm saying that he's good enough to start for Chelsea. I've never said that. I've said that all of our strikers are equally incompetent and competent at the same time. They've all got strengths, they've all got weaknesses. No one's an out-and-out starter, and until we buy a world-class forward, then we're screwed. That's basically what I've said, right? So Giroud, strengths, weaknesses, not good enough to be an out-and-out starter every game for the whole season. You know that. Tammy, same thing. Heading can improve, but he's got strengths, he's got weaknesses. Let's not pretend he doesn't have strengths, because a player that scores the amount of goals he's scored has got some strengths, you know. Recency bias is a problem there. And then Timo Werner, again, I've spoken about his strengths and weaknesses many times on this channel. No need to go over it. So for me, we don't have that world-class player, but Tammy Abraham's become very polarizing because people are, someone just said he's not polarizing. We all know he's Bambi on ice. The fact that you just said that is polarizing, because not everybody's going to agree with you. So there you go. You've just proved my point, yeah? Someone above you just said respect Tammy. So you look. I'm just going to make this example, right? So you've got Tammy still scored goals. I hate this tap-in agenda. We literally need goals right now. And then we've got, if someone said Tammy ain't polarizing, we all know he's Bambi on ice. That right there is exactly what I'm talking about. So I've already brought up his name, and you guys have already kind of improved my point. And my thing has always been respect him. I know there's been a big golfing difference of opinion in terms of his ability. A lot of the fan base rate him quite highly. Maybe some of you will be surprised to hear that, but people do rate him quite highly. If you look at strikers in his age group, under 24 category, there's not many that are outperforming him. Of course, you have your generational talents, Mbappe, Haaland, who one of them we're linked with, and a few others that are doing exceptional things. But if you look at young strikers, and I always say this, look at strikers his age, leading the line for top teams in the top 5 European leagues. Not really. There's not really strikers his age that are doing wonders, that are leading the line for top teams. You've got Mbappe, you've got Erling Haaland, and give me your names if there's any more that I'm missing, but those are your standout ones. You look at Bayern Munich, experienced striker. You look at Tottenham, experienced striker. You look at Man City, Gabriel Jesus is not all that. He's kind of very hit and miss. Sergio Aguero was their guy, who's obviously bowling out from the Premier League, or bowling out from Man City today. So in his age gap, there's not, in his age range, there's not really that many strikers that you can say, yo, everybody's just clear. Do you know what I mean? He is a very good striker. It's just he's not of the level maybe to go to the next level, which we're trying to do. But I've always said respect him. And again, he's been very polarizing. And I think, unfortunately, one of those things has been race, and not because I'm not talking about opinions of people. I'm talking about now the Super Cup game where he missed that penalty. He missed that penalty in the Super Cup game against, was it Bayern Munich under Frank Lampard? I think it was. No, sorry, it was Liverpool, of course, because that's the Kante masterclass, that game. So, he misses the penalty, and he got a lot of racial abuse on Twitter. And that was ridiculous. We all know that. So that was ridiculous. And that was a lot of people giving him a lot of shit there. And I feel like a lot of people are very 50-50 on him. He's obviously delivered loads of great goals as well in that first season. A lot of people will say, listen, his goals to minutes ratio is quite good. He was obviously got injured in the middle part of that season as well, which a lot of people don't really like to remember. Giroud kind of took over in the second part. And then a lot of people say, listen, you kind of just stat padded against smaller teams from August till November, and then you kind of went missing. So there's a lot of opinions flying around on Tammy in terms of, you know, his ability, how good he is. Should we even keep him? Is he good enough for the squad? Is he a backup player? Can he have the potential to be a starter? Because we know young players, how often Chelsea young players are discarded and, you know, disregarded and written off, and then they get to their prime, which Tammy's not in, and then we start to regret it. So there's a lot going on there in terms of a player that divides opinion, and it's not down to a manager. You know, it's not down to a manager. It's not down to really comparisons either. I haven't really seen too many comparisons. It's just the individual player's ability. There's so many highs, but then there's also a lot of lows, whether it be the heading. Sometimes the build-up play hasn't been great, which I think did improve. The build-up play did improve vastly at the start of the season when Lampard was on his winning run. Tammy's build-up play, in my opinion, was a lot better than it was the season before. You know, his finishing, you know, misses quite a few big chances. That Tottenham game at home, missed quite a few big chances. We ended up drawing the game 0-0. That really pissed people off. That was a big moment, I think, for him as well in his Chelsea career. And it's moments like that. But again, the movement, you know, the movement's great. Really does get himself into a lot of goal scoring opportunities. You know, to get those big chances, to miss them, to put them in, whatever it may be, you have to get into those positions in the first place. On top of that, though, when those balls gets whipped in across the box from Reece James, just a toe away. That's the lack of movement maybe that you're looking for, or the anticipation and reading of the game. So there's strengths and weaknesses here that people are. That's what's dividing the opinion so heavily. You know, again, he will improve. It's just you. First of all, Chelsea do have the patience, probably not. And like I said, I would take a world-class striker first. Do I want to keep Tammy in the squad? I mean, only if he wants to be there would be my answer. I don't want to keep any player around who feels like they need to leave to get their first team football. I think Giroud is a great deputy as well. And I've already spoken about the age profile and the age range between having deputies and starters, the passing of the guard, as you will, or the passing of the baton in a race. You know, Foden, David Silva, Azpilicueta, Reece James, Giroud, Tammy, or Giroud, Haaland. You need that age range in your squad. Aguero, Gabriel Jesus. You need that age range in your squad to have a big competitive squad. Like, you can't have a squad of just young players that are all under 25 competing for the same spots. That's why Tariq Lamptey left, because Reece James was in the same age range, same position. Are you going to ask two young players to fight for a position all their career? Probably not. In hindsight, you know, Tariq Lamptey plays right wing back now and James potentially right side centre back. That would have been brilliant. However, that wasn't what we was playing at the time. So he decided to go to pastures new. And that's the thing. When it comes to players in a squad, you need that age dynamic. You need leaders. You need older players to guide the younger ones. Something to look up to if they're good enough as well. Obviously, you're not really gonna look up to your Danny Drinkwaters, but if you've got someone else like a Thiago Silva to look up to, then cool. So that's how it goes. You need that variety in a squad, and that's why I start to worry about Tammy's future, because you've got Havertz, who's 21. You've got Timo Werner, who's 24, I believe. And if you sign Erling Haaland, then he's of the age of 20, sorry. So you're gonna have too many young players in there to fight for them positions. And, you know, Pulisic's young, Hudson-Odoi's young. I keep going on and on. It's really just youth FC. Do you know what I mean? It's very young. A lot of things with this squad is that a lot of our players are developing. That's why there's a lot of inconsistencies in the attack, because they're young players. So, you know, someone just said Aguero, easy choice. For me personally, I want that world-class striker. I mean, if you're talking about Aguero replacing Giroud, I've said it already. I prefer to keep Giroud because I like continuity. I think he knows what to do here. Do you know what I mean? I don't believe in. I think one of our downfalls last season was actually that we made so many signings that it was too difficult to incorporate everyone and to get everyone to blood in and get used to the team. And obviously, there's a lack of games. There's no preseason, so you have even less time on the training field to get that done. I think if you don't have to make a change, then don't make it. And for me, because Aguero's so injury prone, he's kind of on the decline. I wouldn't make that change with Giroud because I don't think it's necessary. I don't think that's the change that takes us to a league title. I think you sign one world-class striker, you keep Giroud, and you're sorted. You've got Havertz, you've got Werner. You know, we've seen Werner against Liverpool against a high line, what he can do. Kai Havertz, we've seen him in that position. masterclass, or not masterclass, but a man in the match performance against Everton. Sorry, that was the inner Kai Havertz bias. I love that brother. I would just pump him. I would just pump up his praise to a new level. But man in the match performance against Everton in the striker role. So you've got enough options there. You've got 4 potential options. If you're selling Tammy and you're bringing in Erling Haaland, I don't feel like you need Aguero in there as well. Yes, he's new, but is he needed? For me, no. I don't want to bring in players that are not needed. Because you're just bringing in more characters that you have to blend in for no reason. The big thing for Thomas Tuchel, away from the shiny, glittery signings, will be his ability to get the best out of what we've already got. We've already signed a truckload of attacking players from last summer. The ability to get the best out of that crop and improve them next season, that's where, for me, there would be a lot of difference. You really made a mad exposed account. I don't know whether to block you or not. I mean, I feel like I kind of have to, because it's kind of just my rule. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. Sorry. I appreciate the effort, but I can't be asked. You'll live anyway. I'm sure you've got another account. Anyway, so that's another polarizing figure, is Tammy Abraham. And it will be interesting to see how long he's here for in the coming months. Another polarizing, yeah, he's already blocked. Another polarizing figure. I mean, I don't want to loosely use the word, because I feel like the 3 that I've mentioned have been top creme de la creme in terms of splitting opinion in this fan base. So I don't want to dilute it now. I'm going through the team in my head. You know, you've got your goalkeepers. I think everybody's kind of, you know, quite sound on those. You've got your defenders. To be honest, I think you could have mentioned that a Rudiger or a Christensen were quite 50-50 players for a lot of the fan base, or 60-40s. But with their form recently, I think those guys are, you know, they've built up a lot of credit, a lot of brownie points, a lot of credit. And I think a lot of people are very impressed, myself included. They have definitely exceeded expectation. So I don't want to put them in polarizing, because I don't think right now as I speak, they are polarizing. I think right now as I speak, everybody's just extremely impressed. Thankful that they turned up, because we want to win trophies this year. We haven't obviously made any transfer signings or any changes. So we're thankful that they're doing their business, and long may it continue. I think left back, you know, I think Chilwell needs a second season. You know, he really does. I think the 3 I've mentioned have been here for a minimum of 2 seasons. So I think it'd be silly to be polarizing on Chilwell, even though, you know, maybe at 50 million we was hoping for a bit more. But he is improving last couple of games, and I think it's too early. And then I give it to Alonso, Emerson. I don't really feel the energy. I don't feel it there in the fan base. So going into midfield, Kovacic. I mean, Kovacic, I feel like surely, you know, people should rate him. But if I'm going to make a final and 4th person, Christensen, Pulisic, no, I think, you know, wingers. I'm going to go with Kovacic. I think Kovacic, yeah. I think so, because he got Player of the Year last year. A lot of people didn't feel like he deserved it. Very 50-50 on that as well for a lot of people. I personally thought he did deserve it. I thought he was quite consistent. And I think the main thing with... I'm not even going to block you again. I think the main thing with Kovacic is the fact that he was kind of roped into this Jovetic brand, which is the Jorginho and Kova combined. And because Jorginho was polarizing, as I said, it automatically made Kovacic very polarizing. I've already mentioned Jorginho, bro. Don't worry about that. So I think because of that tag, Kovacic actually became a polarizing figure in the fan base, which is strange for me, because I think on the most, he's been very consistent. For 40 million, I think he's been definitely well worth the money. Got Player of the Season in his first season under Frank. A lot of people said, you know, Frank brought the best out of him, or the team brought the best out of him in comparison to the Sarri season, because he had a bit more freedom and he was a bit more off the shackles, got a lot more dribbles out of him, and he looked like a free player in that respect in midfield, the opportunity to advance and break lines of press and whatnot. So I feel like people, you know, in his first season, definitely, you know, they liked Kovacic a lot. A lot of people didn't know if he really deserved Player of the Year, but I think he was loved in that first season. But I always see, and this is where the polarizing part comes in, I always see people always, if he does go off form a little bit, straight in there with the lack of goals, the lack of assists, the lack of end product from him, you know, the lack of those type of things. They look for their GAs when it comes to Kovacic and the lack of end products. For me, I think it's very important for me in midfield not to judge a player off GA. Of course, you want GA, but Kovacic has never been that type of player to give you GA from midfield. He's never been... He was an attacking midfielder at Inter Milan for a bit, and he scored a couple of volleys and whatnot, a couple long ranges, but he's not that type of guy. If you watch him, you know that his main purpose is to be in that defensive to mid-third, press resistant to move the ball through the lines with his dribbling, or you would hope with his passing as well. And he's very good in tight spaces, which allows you to attract people to him. You know, he's like a magnet in midfield is what I would call him. A magnet with dribbling of hazard. You know, you bring players into him, you attract, and he kind of is an attention seeker in a good way, because everybody presses him, they go towards him, and then bang, he can just flip it, and then you've got space for others. And that was the key that I saw when he was playing under Sarri for glimpses. He would be that guy that attracts all the attention, attracts the people around him, and then bang. Once you escape, get it to Loftus-Cheek under Sarri, and boom, you've got loads of space, loads of time on the ball, and Loftus-Cheek could really use his legs to burst through the midfield. I'm getting nostalgic with you guys. It's getting a bit emotional, because God, that was one hell of a player when he was under Sarri. But Loftus-Cheek, the big part of Loftus-Cheek is that he had that space, whether it was, you know, Jorginho and Kovac or Kante, you know, getting that ball in midfield. Yes, they had pressure, but getting it out of that first pressure and then moving it into that next space, into that next moment in that Europa League run. And then you've got the power in Loftus-Cheek's legs to bring it up the field. But Kovac for me is not about, you know, he's not about goals and assists. Would I like him to get more assists and to have that cutting pass more often? Of course I would. But it doesn't come natural to him. And because he can dribble, I don't think it has to come natural to him, because he can create chances in other ways. It's not just, you can create chances with your passing, don't get me twisted. This brother here did it better than anybody. You can create chances with your passing all day long, and this guy is the best at it that I've seen at Chelsea. However, you can create chances by dribbling and taking players out of the game. And then as long as you make the correct decision in the final third, which Kovac obviously has to keep doing. You know, we spoke about that with Mason Mount earlier. When you're running now, when you've made that space, how many times have we seen Kovac skip past 2-3 players and then bang, he's in behind, and we've got acres of space now, and you've got an option to your right, to your left, your striker. Then it's just about picking the right simple pass and finishing it off. So he can create chances that maybe that you won't get on a stat line from, you know, key passes, or, you know, well, you should be able to always get it from key passes, but from, you know, the Fabregas type balls that you're looking for from the deeper positions, he's not going to always flood that ball over the top, but he can create chances through that middle. So listen, he's been a very consistent player for us. I know maybe he's not reaching the heights of an Essien or, you know, of those midfielders that you guys are craving, that I'm craving as well, the Balaks, the Lampards, the Essiens. I think Chelsea, the reason why there's 3 midfield players in this polarizing category out of the 4 outside Tammy is because Chelsea, let's be real, we are used to the creme de la creme, the best of the best, the beauty of Lampard, of Ballack, of Essien, of Makelele, of Mikel. I could go on probably. We have had unbelievable midfielders, even the underrated ones that don't really get spoken about a lot. If you guys remember Deco, Deco, we had some really good moments. We didn't get him in his prime, but we had some brilliant moments with Deco. That goal against Portsmouth, that little flick against Bolton, him to Lampard to Drogba, that finish into the corner. Oh, shit. I'm getting gassed just thinking about it. Let me know if you remember that moment. That goal against Bolton at the Reebok Stadium, I believe. And it was Deco that chested it to Lampard, backheel flick, Drogba side foot. It was, everybody speaks about the Wilshere goal for Arsenal, where he did that flick with Giroud, good team goal. No one speaks about that Bolton goal for Chelsea. That was dirt. That was disgusting. That was unbelievable. Oh my God, the debut goal, yeah. I think the debut goal was against Portsmouth at home. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was, sexy. It was sex on a stick, people. It was absolutely incredible. Yeah, that sound was mad. Bro, I don't make that sound unless I'm talking about an unbelievable goal. That goal was mad. And you know you remember it. And if you don't remember it, go on YouTube that shit. It was unbelievable. So Deco, very saucy. And we've had, you know, I can keep going. We've had a lot of great midfielders. We really have Matic, who I still to this day will say we never really replaced Nemanja Matic's physical presence in midfield. You know, his ability to receive the ball, shield it, and whack those lovely on the ground passes, right? Through. You know, that Eden Hazard goal where he weaves in and out, Man United, far corner, Matic along the ground, first time. Fuck. Oh, what a goal. So yeah, I'm taking you down memory lane. Them long shots, I've been long since crying for some long shots from our midfielders as well. I think so that because we've had these level of midfielders, I think people, that's why a lot of these midfielders are very polarizing, because they are, you know, even, you know, if we don't do it on purpose, we look back and we think, damn, man, we've had some we've had some ballers in there, and they're, you know, because they haven't reached up to those levels yet. You wouldn't say a Kova's reached up to the levels of an Essien, or, you know, Jorginho's reached to the levels of a Makalele or whatever. Not even the same type of player, but they haven't reached the level of the Matiches, the Essiens, the Makaleles, the Mikel against Bayern Munich, masterclass. Lampard, Ballack, you know, not Deco so much, but we've had some Juan Mata. Oh, Lord have mercy. He plays a bit higher up the pitch, but that is exactly what I need Hakim Ziyech to become. Maybe I'm asking too much. I probably am. If you guys remember that season, Eden Hazard, Oscar, Juan Mata, this is becoming a nostalgia show. It is what it is. That was unbelievable. It's not even nostalgia, it's just facts. That was unbelievable. That Juan Mata, one of the seasons, I don't remember exactly the year, and I don't want to get it wrong. I think it might have been 12-13, I think, after the Champions League win. And was it? Maybe. I think it was. Gold kit, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was dirt. Three amigos. It was ruthless, people. Juan Mata is a legend. You know, he is unbelievable. He is very under talked about as well. And that is what you want from a Hakim Ziyech or someone like that potentially. You know, Mazar, you know, it was unbelievable. So we've had a lot of unbelievable midfielders. Fabregas. How did I not even mention Fabregas? I didn't even mention Fabregas in that. You see what I'm talking about? Do you see how spoiled we are? And this is why, out of the 4 names I've given, 3 of them are midfielders that are polarizing. Because when you compare their output or their, you know, defensive ability, or, you know, so many different areas of their game you want to talk about where there's weaknesses. Ramirez, blood clot, we are spoiled. Blood clot, we are spoiled. Yeah, Fabregas didn't even get to him. Pass master, Ramirez, engine. If we're talking about box to box, engine. That dribble against you know, Man City. So I could go on. So that's why they're in there, and that's why potentially so polarizing. So 3 out of the 4 midfielders. That kind of wraps that up. And for the final 5 minutes, because I got to go on the Big 6 at 10 o'clock on Turkish channel. I'm sure you guys already know. It's where I got my hair initially shaved like a sheep. I mentioned Mikel. Yeah, Mikel was on there as well. Let's just get my final thoughts out on Lukaku before we interview Gab tomorrow morning, and then we'll wrap up. Listen, I don't think I can turn my nose up at him. Of course not. You couldn't. As a Chelsea fan, for me, people have question marks about whether he fits in this team, in this system. You know, is he better in running into space? He probably is as well, because, you know, you give Lukaku space on the break, he is ridiculous. Like, he can run. If he's one of them brothers that don't look quick, but is deceptively quick. Kind of like how Kai Havertz is, but just built differently. Literally built differently. He is deceptively quick. When he gets going, you're not stopping that brother. So Lukaku, a lot of people will say no. For me, I can't turn it down. I can't say no. Not my first choice. I think Haaland would be my first choice. Harry Kane would be my second choice, even though that's not even an option. So I don't even know why I mentioned him. But Lukaku gives you goals, man. He gives you goals. And when you're talking about someone that's awareness and anticipation in the box, sorted. Can header the ball, sorted. Those balls that come across the box from Reece James, sorted. So he is a real penalty box striker. Despite the fact that he's improved outside the box under Conte, he is a penalty box striker as well. His finishing technique is solid. It is on point. Do you know what I mean? And he's got goals everywhere he goes. So very low bust potential, which is very important to me as well. Especially, you know, with all the signings we've been making, they haven't all kicked into gear as quickly as we'd like. We'd need someone who with low bust potential. Someone who, I'm not saying he's my first choice. You know, Erling Haaland is, but I wouldn't turn my nose up at Lukaku. You know, scored goals at West Brom, scored goals at Everton. Scored goals at Man United, and now scoring goals at Inter Milan. Scored goals at Belgium as well. Yes, of course, there are parts of his game you can pick at. You know, does he do it against this guy? Does he do it against that guy? Not going to get into massive detail because I want you to save those questions and to save those concerns for Gab Marcotti tomorrow. So keep that in your head. I've already put the stream up, so you can go onto the stream and you can set a reminder, put the bell on. So keep your questions for Gab Marcotti because he knows the Serie A better than I do. Keep your questions, any concerns, any strengths, weaknesses that you want to talk about in Lukaku's game. Is he system dependent on, you know, Inter Milan's 2-striker system with Lautaro Martinez? How does that translate to Chelsea? Keep it all. Overnight, get some sleep, think about it, or wherever you are in the world, continue with your day, come back, think about it. So when we talk to Gab, you got your questions in the chat ready to go. But I can't turn my nose up at him because for me, this team needs a goal scorer, and he's a goal scorer. Period. And you know he's going to get you goals. He might not do everything in the game that you're looking for. He might not be the most, like you said, there might be certain teams where you're like, if we're low. For me, I don't really have that many concerns about him because I think low block, if you get balls into the box, he's a fantastic target man to hit on the head. I think he's obviously got that pacing behind, and his link-up play and everything has improved. His first touch has improved. But we're going to get into more detail with that with Gab. Is he my first choice? No. But he is someone that you can trust to get goals, which has just been stated very well in the chat. Haaland is obviously my first choice. I think Harry Kane is a more complete footballer. In terms of technical ability, you'd say Harry Kane over Lukaku. The link-up play, the assist, the passing range, the first touch, everything there is just fantastic. But what Lukaku is more of a bully. He's a flat track bully. He's just an absolute bully. Simple as that. The striker that you don't want to come up against. One thing you won't hear is defenders telling you, yeah, Lukaku's easy to deal with. Love coming up against Lukaku. Fantastic. Easy day. No one will say that. And that in itself is a testament. So we're going to wrap up. Like I said, I've got Big Six to do now. And this has been my solo stream. Hope you guys enjoyed. Looks like you have. Really, it's just an opportunity if you take the piss while I speak. That's basically what this was. A good opportunity if you take the piss out of the baldtisse hashtag because, let's hope you don't do that tomorrow. Don't embarrass me. So yeah, people, it's been a good stream. Good to be back. Obviously, we took the weekend off because we're not going to take another week. We're not going to take another day off until the end of the season. We've got games every 3 or 4 days. Big games, competitions. I'm excited. So I thought, let me take the weekend off because this is the last weekend we're off or the last day we're off. Everyday content coming out, people. The schedule's going to be up in the community tab. All weekly shows are running this week. West Brom game on Saturday. Preview gang on Friday. You know where it is. We ain't playing games. So I'll see you on the Big Six. Hopefully they're done taking the piss out of my hair. Probably not. And I'll see you guys in a bit. Peace. And make sure you subscribe. Shameless. But we had to get it in there because just chasing that 12K, just chasing that 12K. And yes.